Hello, everyone, and sorry about that. I thought I was unmuted, but I wasn't. So hello again. Thank you, everyone who has started to join today's webinar for Koç University. I'm very happy to be here. We're going to wait a couple more minutes for everyone to join because we had a lot of interest in today's session. So I'm sure there's people from all over the world, all different time zones who are going to be joining us today. So we're just going to wait a minute to start. Today's webinar, just as a reminder, it's a very practical hands-on session to explain how to complete our undergraduate online application form for those of you who would like to apply for admission to Koç University in the fall 2022 admission period. As I said before, you couldn't hear me. I'm joined by my colleague Ahmed Ismail, and he's going to be managing our Q&A and our chat. I kindly ask that if you have any questions to please type them on the Q&A part of the webinar that you can see on your screen. And we will be answering most of the questions, I think, throughout the session. However, if at the end there's any unanswered questions, we'll be happy to go through them during the time allotted, okay? Whilst we wait, we have a very short video for those of you who might be very new to Turkey, to Istanbul, and to our university, which I'm going to play now. I hope this works, so let me just, yes. Oops, sorry. I'm still learning around the video part of this. Okay, now I understand. Sorry about that. I see more and more people joining, so let's wait one more minute. Okay, so I think it's time to get started. Thank you everyone again for joining us today for our webinar. I will introduce myself. My name is Melissa Abache. I'm the Director of International Student Recruitment here at Koç University. I have been at the university for almost 9 years now in different roles. And this is the part of my job that I love the most, which is getting, like talking and sharing our programs and information about our university with prospective students like yourselves. So thank you again for joining from all over the world. You can also see on the screen a picture of our team. We're a small team, but we are very dedicated to give the best experience possible to applicants who choose to apply to our university. Just in case you cannot stay until the end of the webinar, which we understand, please know that the webinar is being recorded. So you're going to receive the YouTube link in our YouTube channel, where we upload all of our webinar videos, so you can watch it anytime afterwards. We can also offer one-on-one admission sessions in case you have specific questions related to your specific situation, and you can do that through our website, which I hope you can see on screen. Let me minimize here. Let me move this a bit. Our website is international.ku.edu.tr, and you can also communicate with us via email to study@ku.edu.tr. Of course, we have all different social media channels that you can follow us in and get to know more about all of our programs, our students, our professors, our campus, life in Istanbul. So it's a really it's a great resource when you're trying to find out more about your future here. So with that, I just wanted to give a very, very brief, this is not going to take more than 3 minutes, overview of the programs that we offer at the undergraduate level at Koç University, which are distributed across 7 different colleges. So when you're applying for admission, you're applying to programs, to one of these programs, and you have the option to apply for up to 3, and they don't have to be within the same college. They can be from different colleges in case your interests are quite varied, okay? And I will talk about this in a bit more detail whilst we're filling out the application form. Very briefly, I want to give an overview of our undergraduate application requirements. They're not very different from what you would see at top universities in the US, of selective universities, research universities like Koç as well. So we do look for an international standardized university exam score or diploma. Most of our applicants are submitting an SAT-1 or, until last year, SAT-2 exam, or those who are coming from British curriculum, then their A-level results, predicted or final, or in the same case, IB diploma, like final grades or predicted grades. Besides that, there are some regulations that are set at the national level for all Turkish universities. So in that sense, you should be providing your official high school transcripts that show your year 9, 10th, 11, and if available, the transcripts for the year 12 up until where you are if you're still studying. You do not have to provide your high school diploma, again, if you're still in your 11th or 12th grade. So it's an optional element of the application. There is a motivation letter and a recommendation letter. We will go into more detail about this during the hands-on explanation of our application form. And of course, if you have any extracurricular activities or achievements that you can, that you can present to the admission committee to stand out as a candidate, we strongly recommend that you mention those in your application. There is an application fee of 250 Turkish lira. This is paid through the online application system with a credit card. This is approximately $20. It might be a bit less now, because the Turkish lira has devaluated quite sharply in the past month and a half. But just so that you know, this is this year's application fee. A common question or a frequent question that we receive is whether English proficiency is required for admission. And the answer is no, it's an optional element. If you already have taken and have obtained the scores for one of the eligible English exams such as TOEFL, IBT, or Pearson, or Cambridge, then you can include those test scores in your application, but you don't have to. IELTS is not accepted by the Turkish Higher Education Council for admission to universities in Turkey. But again, if you have already taken it and have your test score and the report and it's above 6.5, you can also include it as an additional information element of your application. Here you can see the minimum scores for each of the standard test scores or diploma types that I mentioned briefly. And of course, all of this information is available on our website so that you can check it in more detail and see if you meet those minimum requirements or not. We have only one intake every year for our undergraduate programs, which is in the fall semester. The fall semester in Turkey usually starts in September, sometimes early October. That's determined not by the university, but by the Higher Education Council of Turkey, which is the highest authority in Turkey with regards to higher education. For this year, our application period has already started. It started on the 1st of January, and it will close on July 1st, 2022. The only place where you can apply for admission is our official online application platform. And you can see on the screen the website. It's apply.ku.edu.tr. There's no other places where you can submit an application. This is the official university online application platform. So today we're going to talk about the online application form, but I wanted to briefly cover what happens after you submit the application so that you know what is our admission process like. So the university first does an initial document check to see if you are eligible to apply and be admitted as an international student under the Turkish Higher Education Council regulations. Then your application is shared with the relevant college committee. This is made by deans and assistant deans of the college, and they check all applicants who have indicated a program which is within their college. For some colleges, such as medicine, that will also include that they will watch an online interview that you will be asked to complete, and I will explain this, how it looks like when we get to that part of the webinar. And for other colleges, they ask for online interviews when they're considering you as an applicant for a merit-based scholarships. We will talk about scholarships as well during the session. If you are offered admission, that offer letter will include details of which program you have been offered admission to, and whether it's a full admission offer or a conditional offer, and it will also include details in case you are awarded a merit-based scholarship, what that scholarship percentage is. After that, if you decide to enroll as a student at Koç University, then there are some steps that you need to follow. These are more explained in another website that will be going live very soon, but basically you do your first semester tuition payment, then you receive your, you're able to then complete your matriculation form, registration form. There are some documents that Turkey specifically requires, such as denklik. You may have never heard of this, or you may be familiar with it, which is an equivalency certificate for your high school diploma, and some the original documents such as your transcripts, your diploma, passport, and then you're able to fully enroll at the university. However, this is just a brief overview. We will have other webinars in the coming months which explain all of this in more detail. Okay, so now we will go to today's main topic. I'm going to switch screens so that I can go to our website. So here you can see our website, and I'm just going to, just give me 1 second. Oops, I'm trying to. Okay, so I am now inside of our online application system. I have already signed in as an applicant. This is fairly simple. You first go to apply.ku.edu.tr. You click on sign in or register. You're going to register with a personal email address. Our recommendation is to make sure that you use an email address that you check frequently. Or if you have a dedicated email address for your university applications, then that's fine to use. Just make sure that you're regularly checking that, because all the communications and notifications about the status of your application are going to be sent to that email address. So we don't recommend using, for example, your high school email address, because again, if you graduate and you still, and you may not be using that address, then that's not advisable. Like you might miss out on important notifications. So after you have completed your registration, you will see the following screen. So you have a section on the left-hand side in which you can find the programs that you are interested in applying to. There's information about the university, and there's a section called My Applications. That's where I am right now. And this is where you start, okay? So let's take the first step. It tells you, it's fairly self-explanatory. So we're just here to talk about some of the common questions we receive. For this part, I'm going to close my camera. If I can do that so that it's easier for me to navigate this screen as well. Okay, so first step is to select what you want to apply for admission. There's different ways of searching here. All of you would be searching for an undergraduate program, so that's one way to search for it. And of course, we're now looking at the fall semester 2022-2023. Let's do that. Okay, so for example, you see a list of 20 programs. These are all of our undergraduate full-time 4 years. There's also medicine, which is 6 years, programs listed here. So the ones that you want to apply to, you're going to simply click on the Apply Now button. Let's choose, for example, business administration. Okay, so that gets you started in terms of the application form. You will see that the application form has different sections, which are listed here on the left-hand side. That start from profile, context, all the way down to other. The idea is that you should complete all of the sections and all of the required questions. Everything that it's required will be marked with a red asterisk. So if you're not able to submit the application, it's because somewhere in the application there is a required information or question that has not been completed, or that the format in which you have answered is not correct. So this is something to keep in mind in case you face that hurdle or that problem. So the first section is fairly simple. It's your main contact details. As you can see, some fields are already written here because they're asked when you first when you first register as a user on the system. So it has your first name, your family name or surname, and your citizenship, and of course your email address. So we're going to complete the other required sections here. So for example, here you would enter your passport number. Okay. You would select a date. For example, you just need to make sure that if it's asking for an issue date, it shouldn't be a date in the future, and the expiry date shouldn't, for example, if your passport has expired, this is not so much an issue for admission, but for enrollment, you should have a valid passport. This is something to keep in mind. So again, there are some fairly standard profile questions that you're going to see here. Your nationality, for example, and your citizenship. Your country of residence is also asked. ID card here refers to your national ID card. Okay, so in your country, in Turkey, this is called kimlik number. In your country, it might have different names. If there's no ID card, a figure or format in your country, you can put your passport number here again. Okay, so you can put your card number here. Then it asks for your parents' information. This is specifically requested by the Turkish Higher Education Council for all students in Turkey, not just international students, because we do receive sometimes this question. So let's put some names. Okay. It's going to ask for your date of birth. Just make sure that the date corresponds to the date that it's showing on your passport. Okay, so let's put the date, your country of birth. Some questions may seem a bit random, like why is this being asked for me as an undergraduate applicant, but please know that some of those questions are a requirement from the Turkish Higher Education Council. If you have any type of disability, you can choose to declare or disclose that in the application form. You're going to be asked to upload a formal photo of yourself that it's going to be in your application. Here, it doesn't have to be a biometric passport type photo, but it should be something that shows your face clearly, okay? So I'm gonna go to our desktop and let's see, where's it? Oops, I had here. Okay. I'm going to upload something wrong because it's a PDF file. So this is a common mistake. Here, for example, you should be only uploading JPEG files, okay? And there is a size limit of 2 megabytes. Again, it should be passport size, okay? So I thought I had, let me just check here. Thought I had one here. All right, so I'm going to stop share here whilst I find a JPEG file. Please bear with me for 1 second. Okay. I know you're all writing your questions, and I think my colleague Ahmed is answering those as quickly as he can. So we'll be getting there very soon to all of your questions. Okay, we're back to sharing our screen. Okay, so I think you can all see my screen again. I'm going to then select a picture that will be part of my application. After I have completed each section, there are 2 options there, or 2 buttons that you can see, which are save or submit. Of course, I cannot submit yet because they're still incomplete parts. So I'm going to click save so that everything that I have put into the form so far is saved, okay? And then I can go to the next page. So that's the logic. You're going through each of the sections of the form in a sequential way. You don't have to, you can start by other sections if you wish, but this is to show you the complete application form. Now, in terms of the contact section, this is important. It's important that you're going to write the telephone number and mobile number that you are using, because if you are offered admission, that information is then sent to our student information system. So in order to avoid errors later and possible delays, we kindly ask you to put yes, your real or correct telephone numbers, especially your mobile phone number. Here, you should include your country code. So for example, okay, let's do this. And then for the address, it should be the address where you're currently residing. This should be typed in English as well, okay, so that it is understood especially by our student information system later on when the information is passed there. So, okay. Again, if there are some fields that don't exactly apply to your contact information, perhaps in your country, there is no denomination for state, you can simply repeat the information before, okay? Now, if your correspondence address is different, then you click here and it's gonna open up a whole new set of address fields so that you can complete that. For example, if you are studying in one city, but you would prefer to receive any postal correspondence in a different address, then you can use that option. However, please note that all of the notifications you're going to receive about the admission and the application process are going to be via email. This is just something that we need to do, again, for Turkish Higher Education Council purposes. So we're going to click on Save to go to the next page. So as you may remember, I first clicked on apply for our business administration bachelor's program. But as an undergraduate applicant, you can choose up to 3 programs that you would like to apply for. So let's do that. Let's add, for example, medicine. We're going to find it over here. So let me just check here. Okay. Okay, so when I go to priorities, it is now showing both business administration and medicine. I'm not going to add a third one, but you can do so. And as I said, they don't have to be all from the same college, or they can all be from the same college. There's no limitations in that sense. What we need to always be careful about is when we are preparing our motivation letter to make sure that each of the motivation letters for each program is tailored and explains clearly why you want to apply for that specific undergraduate program. Okay, so after that, I have now added 2 choices. I'm going to click on save and move to the next section. Now here, the idea is that you should provide information about all of your studies up to now. The main thing that our admission committee members are looking for is to know about your high school education. Okay, so typically that's where you would start with your high school. You're going to indicate when did you started your studies. So let's say, for example, 2017. Now, you should write here the official name of your school or the institution where you're pursuing your high school program. This should also be typed in English so that once that information is also sent to a student information system, that it doesn't give any errors. When you start typing if you're not sure if we already have that school in our list, you can check here. So you click on I prefer to choose my institution from the list and you start typing to find it. So let's say, see what comes up. Okay, there is a very long list here because it also includes Turkish high school. So I'm just going to choose for ease of, because of time, a Turkish high school here, but there are several international high schools from lots of different countries. But in case you don't find your institution from the list, let's say that's the case, then you click on I did not find my institution from the list. You click here, okay? And then you simply type it. Okay, I'm gonna type. Okay. Now, if you're still studying, you can type, or you can choose here your expected graduation date, for example, in 2022, let's say it's in July. Or if you have already graduated, then, when was the month and the year that you graduated in. Then this is something that we receive a lot of questions about. What does program name and scientific discipline means? Program name refers to for example, if you are in a high school or in a high school education system in which you have, for example, scientific, humanities, arts type tracks for high school, you can type that here and then type it again on scientific discipline. Or, for example, if your curriculum is the International Baccalaureate, you can type that here. Okay, I hope that I typed that wrong, probably not. Okay, I always have a problem with baccalaureate. And for example, if that's your case in scientific discipline, you can simply type the same thing, or like whatever situation applies to your specific curriculum. The country in which the high school is located, the city. Now, the next part is important because this is what the admissions committee is going to start evaluating you from. Your average grade point average, your grade point average, you should write it here. So for example, if your system is on a scale of 20 and your average is 18, then here you need to write, well, what is the maximum possible grade in that system? So you write it's 20, okay? And for example, if you have switched high schools, if you started high school somewhere, then moved to a different school, you can also include that information here by clicking on insert new block here. You would choose again high school. When did you start? If you didn't graduate, then again, you can simply choose like put the time you finished that period. So I hope that answered most questions. We also have some specific instructions here that I highly recommend that you read before you complete each section. We have tried to add more details and more detailed information and instructions on the form this year to help applicants. So I'm going to click now on save and move to the next page. Now, this is a very important section of the application form, and I would like you all to pay careful attention to what I'm about to say. One of the key parts of our evaluation by the admissions committee is the test scores or diploma grades that you have. Here's why. If you don't have one of these test scores or diploma grades, it's not likely that you will be offered admission. So it's very important that you put that information here and that later on in the documents that you have to upload, that you upload proof of what you are saying in this section. So the button that you see on the screen that says add a score, that's where you start. So you're going to search for the test score or diploma type that applies to your situation. So let's say that you have an SAT 1 exam. Okay, that will, it's a very long list of exams because here we put all of the possible exams both for graduate and undergraduate applications. So eventually you'll see here the SAT 1, and there's 3 things here. For example, you're going to choose the 3 sections of the SAT, the evidence-based reading and writing. You're going to write how many points did you obtain, and when was the date in which you took the exam. Then again, for SAT, we're going to choose here SAT 1. We're going to find the math section. We're going to add our score. And again, the date should be the same because this is the SAT 1, so you take it all at once. So sorry, 2021. Okay, and the total score. The same applies, for example, if you are doing the IB diploma, then you can put all of your subject predicted grades here. For A levels, you can put all of your A level predicted grades here. If you have done AS level, so all levels, and you have your final grades already, you can add them here. But please note that only A levels are eligible for admission at Koç University and also in Turkey. So let me find here SAT 1, and then we'll complete this section. Okay. So I think that comes to this, if I'm not wrong. Let's see, let's go 2021, October 6th. Okay. If you have any other tests or diplomas that are in the list of eligible tests or diplomas on our website, you should add them here. But please remember to add your scores here, because otherwise it takes longer for the admission committee to review your file. We're going to click on save, and we're going to move to the next page. Now, I mentioned before when we first started and looked at our application requirements that English, like proof of English proficiency, it's an optional element of the admission process. Okay. However, if you have already taken one of the eligible exams, then you can add it here. Or for example, if you are a native speaker of a specific language because of your family or where you were born, you can also put that information here. So let's choose English. And here we're going to choose, for example, TOEFL. What was our score? And when was the test taken? Let's say. So again, this part is optional, but if you want to provide that information, you can do that. Let's click on save and then move to the next page. As I mentioned, if you have any extracurricular activities, honors, awards, certificates of participation in activities in your school or outside your school that you think would make you stand out amongst the candidates as a well-rounded person, that's the profile of student that Koç University is looking for, not just people who are very good academically in terms of their grades and their test scores, but people who are also able to demonstrate other skills. Then this is the place to showcase those skills. So here you simply click on insert new block and you can write the nature of your activity. So for example, let's say, MUN delegation, like let's say 2000, we can put the date there, MUN delegation, and this happened between May until December. For example, if it's something within your school, you put your school name. If it's an independent organization, you can put that. So here, think about all the different things that you may have done in terms of sports, volunteering, work experience, internships, observation internships, anything you think would help the admission committee know you more as a candidate, you can add it here. And again, there's no limit. You can add as many activities as you have. If you have certificates or letters or pictures that show, that you really, achieved that or took part in that activity, you will be able to upload that in the documents section. Okay. If your certificates, for example, are in a language different than English or Turkish, you do not need to translate all of them because we understand that that can be very costly. So any documents that you have in English or in Turkish are okay. You don't need to upload all the certificates if they're in a language that our admission committee members won't be able to understand. So this is why at the moment that's English and Turkish. And any additional comments you can also write here. So we're going to click on save and then move to the next page. One also an important element of our admissions is the reference letter that is going to be submitted on your behalf by a referee. When we talk about referees, we're talking about high school counselors, specific subject teachers that you might have in your school. If you have done volunteering, then people who have supervised you as a manager. That's who we're talking about when we are talking about referees. What's going to happen here is you're going to put their name. Okay, so let's say, for example, and their email. Now, the email should preferably be an institutional email. So for example, if it's your high school counselor, it should be their high school institutional email. However, we also understand that that's not always possible. So you can put a Gmail type or Yahoo or other type of personal email. But again, the preference is for institutional emails, and you can explain that to your referees. We have put here very detailed instructions and guidance about the references so that you can read that beforehand. I'm going to put if I got that, yeah. I'll show you then what happens. So after you have added that, it's very important that you click here on this red button that says ask for a reference. If you don't click that, then the reference request will not be sent to your referee. After you click that, you can see here on the top, it shows the name of your referee, the email address, and the status. Right now, it says reference is not yet inserted. The invitation is being delivered. So you can inform at that point to your referee to please check their email inbox to see if they have received the email from Koç University application system. Sometimes that email may go into their spam or junk or marketing or promotional folder, so they can check there in case they don't find it in their main inbox. If, for example, there is an issue with your referee and they're not able to provide the reference in the end, the situation changes, whatever the situation, you can click here where it says untick to remove, so that you can then delete that referee from the system and add a new referee. There is no limit in terms of the number of referees you can add here, but for our undergraduate admissions, you only need to add one reference. Of course, if you have more, that's great. You can ask more than one teacher or counselor to provide a reference. The references should be written in English or Turkish, and they cannot upload an existing letter. What they will be asked to do is to complete a short form. They will receive an email, and then they will click on a link on that email that will take them to a form. They will complete the form and then submit it. Once they have submitted that, you're going to see here that the status has changed, and it will say reference has been inserted. That means that the reference was received. There is no problem. The admissions committee will be able to check it and use it for their evaluation. So I hope that answered most questions about references that we receive. We're now going to click on save and move to the next section. So we're now at something that looks easy, but it isn't. So this is the part where we're going to be writing the motivation letter for each of the programs you're applying for, whether that's 1, 2, or 3. Because I applied for 2 programs, business administration and medicine, you see that there's 2 boxes for me to complete. Our recommendation is to first prepare your motivation letter as a Word document so that you have it, already somewhere else. And then you can simply copy and paste into this text box here. There is a character limit of 4,000 and a minimum character requirement of 1,500 characters. So keep that in mind, and you can of course check that on a Word document that you're doing. Here we also give some pointers, in terms of helping you answer that question. Typically what we're going to be looking for is for you to explain why you're choosing to apply to business administration, for example. What do you expect to gain from those studies? Where do you see yourself, what do you see yourself doing with that degree after you finish? What makes you a suitable candidate for that program and for Koç University? And this is important and something that we feel not all applicants pay enough attention to, which is, why do you think Koç University is a good fit for you as a place to study and live for at least 4 years? So this is where research pays a lot of dividends. If you take some time to check the university website, social media accounts, if you want to get in touch with students or alumni, you can also do that, so that you understand, is this really a good fit for me in terms of the location of the campus, the atmosphere there, the type of the learning environment, the type of class and teaching format that it's offered, the student clubs, the cost of living, all of these things should be thought about and then briefly reflected on your motivation letter. So here, for example, I have prepared, let's see. Okay, so I had prepared a Word document. So this is similar to what you would be doing. Let's see. And we're going to paste it. Okay, as you are putting your, your motivation letter, it's going to tell you how many characters you have left. One thing we, advise you against is just simply copying and pasting the same motivation letter for 2 different programs, especially if they're in different colleges. This is noticed by the admission committee members, and it's not looked at in a positive way at all. So please do take the time to prepare a tailored letter for each program. Okay, here I'm gonna do what I'm saying we shouldn't do, but please understand that that's it's just for the sake of time. So I'm going to click on save. So whenever there's something wrong here, right, it's going to give you a warning at the top of the page in red color. So here, for example, it's telling me, okay, you need to put more. So I might be over the character limit or under the character limit or under the minimum. So these are the type of warnings that the system is going to give me. That still allows me to go to the next page. So for example, I know that I still have something to correct in the form, but I can still continue. The next section is it's important because it explains how the merit scholarship policy works at Koç University for international undergraduate applicants and admitted students, sorry. This is also reflected on the international admissions website, but it's important that you read it, fully understand it, and then you click on yes, that you have read and understood the conditions regarding our scholarship policy. That's a very fast part of the application. You click on save and then move to the next page. Okay, so here there's a series of tasks or things that you need to make sure you have completed before you're able to submit the application. The things that are marked with a triangle, a yellow triangle, means that if you don't have them, it's okay. You can still submit your application, but it means that it's incomplete. So it will not likely be sent for evaluation to the college admissions committee because it's not yet fully done. And the things that have a red circle, like a warning, that means that if you have not uploaded that, then you cannot submit your application. So let's tackle those things first, okay? So as you can see, there's from all this list, the main things are the transcripts. So I'm going to click here and it gives you two options. So you can say I have not yet uploaded any transcripts. And as I said, then that blocks you from submitting the application, or you simply click on I have uploaded my transcripts, but of course it recognizes that you haven't done that yet. So you're going to click on here and we're going to find our transcripts. This is a sample. Okay, so now we can see they have been uploaded. It's just one page. It could be more than one page, of course. And then I select, okay, I have uploaded my transcript, then there is no problem. There's no red warning sign, and I can move on from here. So now I can see that the task changed to a check sign, meaning that it's done. Then the same thing with my certificate, identification certificate or passport. I'm going to click and upload passport. I will see it reflected here and then click on I have uploaded the document and then move on. So when I look at this, I see, okay, so, I can submit, but again, as I said, if you do not have the test scores, let's see what happens here. There are different options you can choose from. That, again, depending on your situation, you can let us know. It may be that you have not taken them, the SAT, for example, or the ACT test, or you have already registered, but you haven't taken the test yet, or you have taken it and are waiting for the results, okay? Or you do just have them. And then in that case, you go find your file, say SAT1, upload it, and click on this. I have attached my standardized test score. What happens if you choose, for example, I have taken one of the tests, but I'm waiting? That's fine. You just need to make sure that you upload the test score report as soon as you receive it. In that way, your application will be processed. Until that time, it will still be marked as missing documents. So you may see on your application status that it says missing documents. You will also receive a notification about that to let you know that it has not been evaluated yet because it's missing a specific document such as the test scores or the transcript. Let's see. Okay, so with that, I can move, for example, to the next page. The next page is simply a review where you can see all of the documents that you have already uploaded. And there is a final section called Other, which is, it's more for marketing and planning purposes for the university. If you have any medical condition, you can disclose that information here if you think it would be relevant for the admission committee to know about. The other question is about how did you hear about Koç University? That's information that's specifically important for us in the international student recruitment team, because we want to know what are the different channels that good students are hearing about our university, so that again we can put more information about the university in those channels. So let's say you heard about us from an education fair, but you also search for us on Google. The more specific you can be, we appreciate it. Okay. And then there is a question about dormitories. Koç University offers student dormitory accommodation to all domestic and international students based on capacity. So it's important to plan ahead. In case you will apply, then simply click yes. It doesn't mean that you have now a place. You still have to fill out a dormitory application form and pay a dormitory reservation fee in case you're offered admission. If you are applying for programs for example, media and visual arts, or any others, or for example, computer engineering, and you have a GitHub page, you can add information about your portfolio here. So it can be a website address, or if you have your own website where you feature all of your work, you can put that information here. Okay, so we're going to click on save. Let's see what happens now that we have gone through all of the sections. And if I try to click submit, so as you see, because there are still errors in the form, there's still unfilled parts, it's going to tell me, okay, where are those errors. Now, when we look at the left-hand side menu, it's telling me, okay, there is an issue in the motivation letter, right? So we're going to see, maybe it's because I went over the 4,000 character limit. Let's delete a lot of this. Let's try to click submit. I'm still over the limit. This also gives you an idea of how long you should be writing for. Also on our website, we have specific examples of motivation letters that admitted students have prepared to give you an idea. And there's a lot of information, of course, online about how to write a motivation letter that you should check. All right, so let's see what happens. Okay, so you see now the problem is solved, and I should be able to submit the application once I click on submit. There's still some problems. Let's see where they are. Okay, so now it's pointing me to the profile section. We're going to check if there's any either missing values, except yes. So for example, here I didn't choose the country of issue of my passport, so I will do that and then click on save. Okay, so third time's the charm. I'm going to click submit. Let's see. So it seems like now we're okay, because here the last step is to pay for the application fee that I mentioned at the beginning. And it's telling me to please go to the finance section for more information. On the left-hand side red column menu, I can see there's my application, there's tasks, the tasks, just as a reminder, these are the things that we already did in terms of uploading our transcripts, test scores, passport, and if we have any certificate of activities or English proficiency test, we can add them here. So when we go to finances, we're going to see an invoice here for the application fee. And then we simply click to pay online. That's going to take us to a payment gateway in which we put the credit card number, the typical things you would expect to pay online. Now, the credit card to be used should be authorized to do transactions abroad internationally. This is one of the key questions that we received. It can be a credit card, it doesn't need to be one of your parents, it can be someone else's that it's, again, like that you authorize to do that. I'm not going to do this step today. So this is fairly simple. After you click on here, you're going to see that I'm going to stop sharing now. Okay. You're going to see that the invoice shows as paid. And then after that, your submission will be complete and the status of your application is going to show as not processed yet. Every time there is a status change on your application, you will receive a notification via email to the email address that you wrote to let you know in what stage the application is in. So this year, the average evaluation and offer issue time It's between 4 and 5 weeks. There has been a lot of improvement in that regard with, compared to previous years, because we do know that it's very important that you know if you have been admitted or not, so you can make your decision and plan accordingly. In that way, that's why we insist that you check your email inbox regularly so that you can see if there has been any change in the status, or you can also log into the application platform and then check the status there. If your application status changes from not processed yet to missing documents, you also will receive an email explaining what is the missing document, if there is any questions about one of the documents you have provided, so that you can send or upload the right document. I'm now going to answer some questions, and I'm not checking right now the Q&A. My colleague Ahmed is handling that, but sometimes we get questions, for example, about the predicted grades for those of you who are following an IB or GCSE curriculum. In that, for example, your schools may have a policy of not providing an official predicted grades letter to you, and they prefer to send it to the university directly. That's okay. In that case, you can email our team to study@ku.edu.tr. I'm going to share my screen again so that you can see the details. So here. Okay, so anytime you have any questions, if you receive an email from the system about a missing document, and it's something related to your school, you can again refer your counselor to contact us to study@ku.edu.tr. So let me check how are we doing for time. I think, yes, we still have some minutes left. And I want to ask Ahmed if you can maybe open your microphone and let's have a review of the questions. If we have still any open questions we can answer during this time. I think I have given an overview of the online application form. As I mentioned, we are going to be doing other webinars in the coming months about each of the programs for offer holders, what happens after you receive your offer, what are the next steps. So please look at our website because we will be putting information about those upcoming webinars there and also on our social media. The other thing to keep in mind is there is no rush to apply. The more important is that you apply with all of your documents, especially your test scores, transcripts from your first semester. So these are the things that we would like you to remember from today. So let's see some of the open questions here. There's a question from Alia. Will our honors point average also be considered in our application rather than just GPA? I have obtained the AP capstone diploma, so I have 14 plus AP courses complete. Yes, you can include that as an education block under high school, in which you specifically explain that this is your honors point average, and make sure that in the scores section, you also include your AP courses. As each of the AP courses that you have taken, you can select each one and then write the grade that you have obtained. I'm just trying to see if there's any questions that we have not already answered. There's a comment here, isn't 1,500 a lot, from Jalil? I think that's for the motivation letter. It's about, if I'm not wrong, it's about 1.5 pages characters, not words. Okay, so keep that in mind that it's 1,500 characters, not words. Okay, let's see. Okay, there's a important question here for those of you who are in the GCSE curriculum type system. So in the education section, in the GPA, you can type NA, okay? Because yes, the grading system is ABC, not numerical. But it's very important then that in the score section of the application, you're going to select your advanced level subjects. So for example, mathematics, and then you're going to type there your predicted or your final grade, whether it's A, B, A star, whatever that is. And it will also, it's going to show a numerical conversion there. So make sure that you just choose the right letter grade. There's a question about the SAT test score. How long does it take to send you the SAT test score, since there's no PDF version of it? So when you are choosing the universities that you're going to send your test scores to, you can also, you can choose which universities you want to send the physical copy of the test score report, but you can also select those that can receive it electronically. So Koç University can receive SAT test scores electronically. If you do that, then it's easier for the university to check the validity of your score and the test. But usually you would receive as an applicant your SAT test score with I think just after a month of the test date. That's okay. Again, remember that we do have until July for application period. So there's no rush. So it's more important that you apply with the test score report included in your application. There's another question. Can the transcript I upload not include the last semester of grade 12 if I have not finished the year? Yes, that's okay if it only includes your first semester. There is a question about Türkiye Bursları. For those of you who are not familiar, this means Turkish scholarships. It's a government program for scholarships at Turkish public and some foundation or private universities like Koç University. So the question is, should I or should not I apply for scholarship in Koç University if I completed the undergraduate application form? Okay, so if you want to be considered for Turkish scholarships, yes, you should complete our online application form, but you should also complete the Turkish scholarships online application form on their portal. You have to do it in both systems. Because it's a joint selection process. Their selection process also includes a interview stage. So this is something to keep in mind. Let's see.
If I may take some of these questions. Well, we have a question here. Is there a minimum requirement for high school score? The answer is no. Of course, what matters for us is your standardized, like international standardized test score. However, we don't have any specific requirement for high school GPA. We have a question here. Will I be required to send my SAT score from College Board later on? Of course, you have to. If you are offered the admissions, you will be able, of course, to apply with the electronic copy, PDF, and later on you will be required to send the official SAT score, and we highly recommend to do that while even starting your application. We have a question here. May I know how I could book a one-to-one session? Of course, you can simply go to our website, international.ku.edu.tr. It's just right on the screen. From there, there is a section called Contact Us. You will be able to find and schedule a one-to-one session and have a Zoom call with us. We have a question. If I do not upload my Cambridge O-level results, will my application be terminated or not processed? So only A-level Cambridge certified, not acceptable. Well, I already answered that. However, I will repeat. At our university, only O-level from an awarding body like Cambridge or Pearson or EDXL A2 are included in our admission criteria. Neither O-level nor AS level are accepted, but you have to include them. I'm talking about O-level and AS level in your application for our admission as part of your educational history. We have a question here, the standardized test. Well, it's not a question, it's just like, can you please, Fatima, repeat or elaborate your question more so that we can answer it? I have only one name in my passport. Can I register the one name in the admission form? Well, I mean, this is,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
if
you
you
just
have,
repeat, you can repeat.
yeah, you can repeat if you have only one name, so you can repeat it in the name and last name. You can still do that. If I have to A grades and A levels, how much scholarship can I be offered? Well, I mean, we do not have for the scholarship part, we do not have like cut-off scores or minimum required grades to be awarded like a certain, let's say, amount of scholarship. So it's a holistic process. And what we recommend is to upload and complete your application. Make sure that you upload all your extracurricular activities, achievements, and make sure you to have a very strong motivation letter, very good recommendation letter. And then wait, because the academic, or sorry, the admission and scholarship decisions are taken by our academic admission committee, and we do not have any inputs on that.
I will now take over,
Yes.
and then we switch back.
Yeah, please, Melissa, go ahead.
So there's some questions here. So about the ACT test, should I send them via reference code on the ACT website? Yes, please do. But again, also you should upload the PDF ACT test score report to the application. This is important so that we can see it on the application and also verify it electronically. There's a question about what are the requirements for A levels. As we said, O levels are not eligible, but for A levels, will we get a conditional offer? For most applicants who apply with A levels, it is a conditional offer because they have not finished yet. You know, they haven't gotten their final results yet. So the conditional offer will state that they are eligible to enroll as a new student at Koç University if their predicted grades, if their final grades are exactly as their predicted grades. So for example, if you have a predicted grade of A on maths, then your final result should be A or A star, you know, higher is never a problem. This is the main thing. And once you have your final A level or IB results, you are going to email them to the university, you know, and then they can then check them and then revise your offer to a full offer, and you can then complete your registration process. The next question from Tamara. Hi, Tamara. If the student is doing her last year of A level, does she need to pass SAT and TOEFL? No. Again, the admission requirement means that an applicant should have at least, one of the eligible test scores or diploma. So if she's doing A level, that's fine. Then she doesn't need to take SAT, and TOEFL is also an optional part. So I hope that answers the question. We have a question which is about citizenship and fees. It is not so much related to the topic of today's webinar, but we will answer it. I have dual citizenship, both of Turkey and Pakistan. So will I be paying Turkish citizen fees or international fees, scholarship offered to dual citizens or not? So if you have Turkish citizenship, then you would pay the Turkish lira tuition fees. If yes, I mean, that's the answer. And then our scholarship offered to dual citizen, yes, there's no distinction between domestic, international, or dual citizenship students in terms of the overall scholarship policy of the university. I accidentally missed the fee deadline. There's no fee deadline, so I'm not sure what you're referring to. The deadline for applications is July, okay, July 2nd. And you cannot pay after July 2nd. So, you know, in order to submit the application, you need to pay the application fee. Okay, I hope that answers the question. Does the university offer financial grants rather than scholarships? No, we don't have that, that format in the university. What is the total student quota for the molecular biology and genetics bachelor program? The quotas for this upcoming academic year have not been published yet because they are sent first for approval to the Turkish Higher Education Council. However, they do not change too much year to year. For the last academic year, it was 15, a student quota of 15 for molecular biology and genetics. What is certificate equivalency? This is a whole world. This is the famous denklik that you will hear a lot about for Turkish universities. So this is a letter that is issued by the Ministry of Education of Turkey stating that your high school diploma from your country is equivalent to a high school diploma in Turkey. So for that, you need to submit your high school diploma and transcripts, and they then check that and issue this letter. This is required for enrollment in any Turkish university, public or private, at any time. So it does take some time to obtain, and it's something to plan ahead and try to do as early as possible through the Turkish consulates or embassies that offer this. And if there's not that option, then you do it once you arrive in Istanbul at the Istanbul office of the Ministry of Education. It's not, I won't say it's an easy process, but it's not impossible. And again, the university tries to offer some flexibility because we know it will take a bit of time to obtain. The important thing is to get the process started once you have been offered admission to Koç University or to any university in Turkey. There's a question, says, I submitted my application with A level, but I also decided to give ACT by 12 February. So will I need to resubmit the application again? No, you don't need to. It would be better if you go to your application and you can upload additional documents so that the admission committee can see that you also have now an ACT test. If you receive an admission result, whether that's a rejection or an acceptance before 12th of February, and you would like to try again in case you were rejected, let's say, then yes, you would need to create a new application and then again include your A levels and your ACT test result. There's a question, what percentage of Koç University students have scholarships? Well, the overall percentage is 70% when we look also at domestic Turkish students who are placed in the university through the National University Entrance Exam. In terms of international student, the percentage is lower. It's about 60%. So Koç University is quite unique in that regard, in that it's providing a lot of scholarship because again, the profile of students that we are receiving applications from is very high. And this deserves to be rewarded, and because it's an investment in the future of our university. Let's see. Let me check how are we doing for time. I still see quite a lot of people, and I'm very happy to see that you're all committed to getting all the information you can today. So let me just briefly check here if there's application form specific questions. Is there a word limit to the reference letters? It's a good question, and I don't have the answer top of my head right now. We will check, and I think we can put that on our website because it's a very useful question. But again, I don't think it would be more than one page when you think of word count. Okay, let's see. Where was I with the question? Sorry. Okay, there's a question about transcript here. My school has not finalized first semester grades of senior year. Is the first 3 years acceptable to send in my transcript? No, because then during that first document check, they're going to ask for your fourth year first semester transcript. So it's better if you wait a bit until your school can provide that letter. Okay. Let's see. Should we mention past experiences and emotional drives in our motivation letter, or do we have to stick to a stern tone and statistical examples? That's a very good question. So here's the thing. You may be also familiar with personal essays, which is part of the admission requirements for some US universities, in which they ask for both, a personal essay and a motivation letter. So here, when we talk about motivation letter, it's more about your motivation for the program and your fit with the university. So I would recommend keeping the past experiences and emotional drives not to zero, but to a minimum. And again, it's more about translating how those experiences have provided you with skills or knowledge that would make you a successful university student, or specifically for a specific major. For example, if you're thinking about medicine or nursing or psychology, okay? I hope that answers the question. We have a separate webinar on our YouTube channel about how to write the motivation letter that I think you would find useful. So I invite you to check that on our YouTube channel. I think we're gonna have 5 more minutes because this is really interesting, but we do have to wrap up at some point. So let's check here. About the MCAT. Okay, so for those of you who will be applying for medicine, it says, I don't think Koç University is in the MCAT system. Is it okay for me to just download the results and upload them? Yes, that's okay. Yeah. Will a not very high score in the SAT affect my admission? We do have minimum scores for each college, so I would, I would recommend that you check those minimum scores, and if you are below the minimum scores, then don't apply unless you have something else as an applicant that makes you outstanding in terms of your academic or extracurricular activities. But again, 99% of our applicants have scores above the minimum and well above the minimum. So this is our advice. Okay, there's a specific question. In Singapore, the maximum grade for GCSE is actually A and not A star. Should I submit additional documents confirming the grading system? Yes, please do, because that, again, that helps the admission committee understand your grading system, and that you have, if you have A's, that you then have obtained the maximum grade in that system. So please do include them. How much does one-on-one session cost? Nothing, it's free. We're here to help you out in your journey as an applicant. So just go to our website, choose a date and time that suits your schedule and within the available times that we have there, and then make sure you show up. Don't waste our time, sorry. But it's free, okay? Is there a quota for international students? Yes, so in Turkey, all Turkish universities have specific quotas for international students for each program. In the case of Koç University, we do get a lot of applications, but it doesn't mean we fill up all of the quotas for all of the programs, because again, the idea is to select the best of the best, not to fill the quotas. That's a very big difference with regards to other universities. So this is something to keep in mind. It's a selective admissions university. And yeah, so, I mean, you shouldn't be worried about missing out because there's no more quote. There's a question here. I'm Egyptian. What degree of high school you need for medicine? And is there 75% scholarship for medicine program? So the first part of the question, what degree of high school? There's no specific degree, high school track such as science or social science. It's fine. It's more important that you provide one of the eligible test scores in that case, such as SAT or ACT or MCAT for medicine. There's no 75% scholarship for medicine nor 100% scholarship for medicine. There are very limited 50% scholarships, and in some cases 25% scholarships. And again, these are very limited each year because they do receive a very large amount of applications from very good candidates. So that's what you need to keep in mind. There's a question. If my predicted grades are high and are accepted, what happens when I get my actual grades, and if the actual grades are not as good as the predicted ones? Also, how may that affect my scholarship in any way? It does. So this has happened in the past. So unfortunately, it is a conditional admission. So if you don't meet the predicted grade, then you're not able to enroll as a student or to change that condition into a full offer. So make sure, do your best to obtain your predicted grades, is our recommendation. Okay, let me just check. I'll check the bottom of the questions up. Ahmed, do you see any other questions you think we should answer?
I'm checking almost, we answered all of them. However, we have a question here from a transfer, I believe, undergraduate student. He's asking whether we have spring intake for transfer. The answer is no. You need to apply for the fall intake.
Okay, I see other questions, but they're more related to the programs that we offer, or if people can still apply. And I think most of the answers for those are on our website. So again, please take 5 minutes after today and check our websites. I hope you do. And if you have any questions after that, then you can email us to study@ku.edu.tr. So we have run over a bit after the initial planned time, but I hope it has been useful for all of you. I want to thank you again for joining us from the countries that you are in right now. I know it may be very late, very early, or just similar to our time here in Turkey. I hope you all stay healthy and take care. And I want to thank Ahmed for your help today, managing our chat and our Q&A. So with that, thank you very much. And we're going to close today's webinar. Okay, so güle güle, as they say in Turkish.
Bye
We'll see you
bye.
soon, and we look forward to receiving your applications. Bye.
Bye bye.